Damian Priest and Gunther, we already knew that match was happening for a while for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam. We've already talked about why, Rollins and Gunther might have been a sexier match on paper, probably a better match even. But I gotta give him credit, though. They had a face-off on Monday night. Priest went on to beat Braun Strowman one-on-one in a fine match. But I feel like one of the better parts of the show on Monday was Damian and Gunther having their war of words. And I actually thought it was really, really good. Now, Priest has not officially turned babyface yet. We saw plenty of him on Monday night in the Liv and Dom stuff and with Rhea and whatever. He's gotten his 2 cents and he was responsible for Rhea returning and whatever. And Rhea even said that backstage on the show this week. But he obviously is leaning babyface. He has been for a while by saying, I don't want interference in my matches. I want to win on my own. Blah, blah, blah. And I thought he held his own in that segment really well on Monday. Gunther as well, I thought that was one of the best promo segments of his entire career. We don't really hear him talk all that often. Was that segment as effective for you as it was for me and a few other people as far as making you look forward to that match at SummerSlam and making you more interested in that match than you were previously?
Yeah, I thought it was very well done. Priest, like you said, is leaning more babyface. Obviously, was the more of a babyface in this promo over Gunther, but I think they both had good things to say. I feel like Priest, like you said, is going more babyface, and Gunther is I was kind of surprised. I feel like it was more heelish of Gunther than I feel like we've heard him in a while. Obviously he's a heel, but some of the verbiage was obviously just more straight on heel than he normally is. But I thought it was a good back and forth. Definitely kind of piqued my interest more for this match. I'm still not overly fond of Priest being champion, but I think this was a good segment to kind of get me more interested in the match. At first it was just kind of 2 heels going at it, and yeah. I guess now we're kind of getting more defined roles, and the story there of Priest telling the story that Gunther thinks he's just going to run right through him, and that people have kind of underlooked him.
Yeah, no, I thought it was actually a really good promo as far as Gunther. Like you mentioned, Gunther typically plays it straight, and he is a heel, but he doesn't heel it up too often usually. He'll make fun of his opponents, but that's about it. On Monday, he straight up called Damian Priest street trash. He just straight up called him you're just trash from a street rat or whatever. Because Priest was talking about doing everything on his own and not really getting anything handed to him like Gunther did when he came to WWE. He didn't have to scratch and claw, blah, blah, blah. I like that dynamic. I'm glad they're going that way because you kind of need someone for the crowd to cheer for. We see a lot of heel versus heel matches nowadays, and all the shows, including AEW, all the promotions do it nowadays, and it's not annoying, it's something different than what we've gotten in the past and in past years in wrestling. But when you don't have someone that the crowd is going to cheer for, that's kind of part of the problem. That's not the case here. I think they've done a good job of getting people to rally behind Priest and giving them a reason to care about him or a reason to at least want to sympathize with him going into this matchup. But you mentioned how you haven't really liked Damian Priest as World Heavyweight Champion. On that same token, just want to ask you, what's been your overall analysis as we likely approach the end of his reign as World Heavyweight Champion at SummerSlam, probably being ended by Gunther, obviously? What's been your take on him as the World Heavyweight Champion in the past 3.5 months? Has he risen to that level for you? Because I know he's not Rollins level, obviously, but has he come in nicely into the role, or are you still not sold on him as a main eventer?
I feel like he's done better. I feel like at first I was just kind of I just wasn't really a big fan of it. I mean, his match with Jay was pretty good. Been beating Rollins. That was pretty good. I mean, like I said, I don't know. I just feel like they kind of just, obviously with Rhea, they kind of just thrusted him in that main, Rhea obviously was the leader, and then with Rhea getting out, I think they did a good job. But it was also at the same time they were turning him kind of more babyface. Mm-hmm. But he was still technically a heel. So, I mean, it's definitely, I think he's come along farther than I expected. I feel like he is kind of seen as more of a main eventer than just a straight mid-card World Heavyweight Champion. So I think they've done a better job. Like I said, I'm just ready for the random. I'm ready for Gunther to beat him.
Yeah, I mean, to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like you're coming from a place of I'm just ready for Gunther to be champion, and it's not a case of Damian's run has been so bad, or I mean, obviously you said it's not like you don't like the guy. You didn't say that. But I just feel because some people say that, and they're I'm just fucking sick of seeing this person as champion. Whereas, I feel like the translation of what you're saying, at least in my opinion, is the reign has been long enough. It's going to be 3-4 months by SummerSlam. I think not every run has to be, 10 years. I think it makes sense for him to drop it at that pay-per-view. Or just, am I wrong and you just don't like the run really at all?
No, I think it's been decent. Like I said, I think him being like the head of Judgment Day kind of at first seemed like a little rushed, but I feel like he kind of pulled it off by the end.
Yeah.
Or now, I guess. So, I mean, like 3 or 4 months, I think he's had a good reign. I think it kind of solidified him more as a main event player than obviously before, because he just kind of was strictly tag team mid card. So that's good. But like I said, not everyone needs a 10-month reign, and I just think his reign's over, and it's time for Gunther to take over the gold belt.
Yeah, and I also don't think that makes him a failure as a champion either if he only holds it for 4 months. I still would have said it was a good run even if he had lost the Money in the Bank to Seth Rollins. But I think he's gone in there and is really, like you said, and like I kind of, asked you in the question, I think he's come into the role really, really well for a guy that was strictly mid-card and tag team prior to that point. He obviously won Money in the Bank, but people thought he might cash in unsuccessfully. And if he was world champion, how well they really even book him. For me, he's checked all the boxes. I'm not saying Damian Priest is the next future, is the future of the company as far as being the face of the franchise. But I even said, we said a couple of years ago when he first arrived on the main roster, like we're going back 3 years here, that he could be a world champion in this company. The guy's got the size, obviously, and that was when Vince was still running things. But for me, he checks 3 different boxes, that being, a couple different boxes. He's got the size factor, which is one thing, but the guy can obviously go. His wrestling has never been in question for as long as he's been in the company, including in NXT. They've had the story going with Rhea and the Judgment Day and their interference or lack thereof, and he's obviously won with help from Punk and all these other factors in the last couple of months. But it's all played into the story really, really well. But I think the promo department is really where they've done well with him, or at least he's done well with himself, because he wasn't like the greatest talker on the roster prior to this run, and I'm not even saying now he is. But I feel like the promos have improved a lot with what they've been giving him to say, how he's been handling the promos, the delivery of it, including the Gunther one on Monday, was probably his best one as World Heavyweight Champion. Because like when he first won the world title and he was having promo exchanges on Raw, a lot of people were quiet or didn't care or whatever. It wasn't really clicking. But I feel like he's done really, really well with that as World Heavyweight Champion. So my only hope is that when he does lose it at SummerSlam, he doesn't get completely banished to the mid-card and get like the Kofi Kingston treatment where they never again look at him at that level. Like with Jinder, it made sense because he never belonged at that level. But like Kofi had legs as a main event guy. Again, not as the future of the company, but like is, an upper echelon tier competitor. And then they completely fucking ruined that with the Brock thing, and then they just never followed up on it at all. At least with Damian, I think there's something there where I feel like he could be a main eventer after this run is over. Or do you think he's probably banished to the mid-card and won't ever get back to that level? What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think he's done well, and you kind of highlighted there. I think his promo specifically, I don't know if it's just the material that they're giving him or just maybe just more confident with kind of leaning more babyface and heel. I feel like his heel promos can be very like, he has like a deeper voice and he kind of like leans into that more, and it just seems kind of more hokey and not authentic. But with his promo on Raw on Monday, I feel like as a babyface, it seemed more genuine and it felt more real, which usually was a good sign because I feel like you're obviously more comfortable saying things that you really feel, and it came off more realistic and it came off more confident and just a better promo than like his grovelly heel Judgment Day promo. So I think the promo department, I think he's got the size. His in-ring's good enough. I think the promos were really where it needed to shine. I think they've done a good job either giving material, getting his confidence up, or he's just doing it on his own. But I think that's definitely been his biggest bright spot so far as champion.
I agree. I think a lot of the talent in this company have kind of fall into the trap of just not even working on, but just utilizing the catchphrases and not actually cutting meaningful promos. A lot of the people on the roster are just promos. LA Knight has a lot, or not promos, I'm sorry, catchphrases. He has a lot of catchy catchphrases, and he has cut meaningful promos as LA Knight. The guy can just talk in general. But like Priest with the All Rise thing, before Rhea got hurt, a lot of her promos were just catchphrases. They were just like, Mommy's always on top, and all this other sort of shit. It's like, okay, can we get some more depth to these fucking promos? Becky Lynch a little bit towards the end there when she was like, the man comes around, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, we hear the same shit in every fucking promo. If I hear Randy Orton say, I'm going to RKO you out of nowhere, or the 3 most dangerous letters in sports entertainment, it's like, oh, I'm going to fucking vomit. I hate when they always rely on the catchphrases. I know they have to because that's what the company is, and that's how you get things over. Like, I get it. I totally get it. But they just do it too much. is my problem. And that feels like a Vince thing that they could still be working on. But I don't know. That's just a small criticism. But otherwise, I agree, and I feel like he's done a really good job.